What's up guys, I have a Discovery ED-PRS GENII, the 5-25 by 56 SFIR, and this thing is a first focal plane. Full disclosure, Discovery did send the scope for free to me, and I'm going to be keeping it, so big thank you to them. Now, what's my takeaway on the scope? It's a lot like an Arkin. The turrets are really large, they have very distinct clicks, and it has a lot of knurling on the elevation, the windage, and of course the side parallax. So that allows a lot of control both on your elevation, your windage, as well as your focus parallax. And on the note of the focus parallax, one of the criticisms I have on this scope is that when you're adjusting the parallax from 25 to 100, no problem. You have a lot of adjustment. But when you go beyond 100, to infinity, that's where you have a lot less adjustment. So that's a little tiny criticism. I don't really think it applies to air guns though, because most of the stuff that we do is under 100 yards. So same thing goes for the magnification. There's really nice knurling, giving you a lot of control. Now, what's the stiffness on the magnification? The stiffness is there, it is present, and that's another criticism I could throw. It's not as easy to move around as I'd like. However, Discovery does include a throw lever that you can attach to this magnification. The eye box on this scope is very, very forgiving for the price point, and something that I really like about this scope. That means when you're looking down the scope, it's very easy to get a line of sight and get focused. The diopter also has a nice knurling on it, so it really makes setting the reticle easy for your eye. The other thing I should mention is the main tube is 34 millimeters. I know what you're thinking, I don't have 34 millimeter scope rings. However, Discovery does include a pair for you in the package, and I think that's really awesome. On the flip side, they're really, really high. So if you don't like high scope rings, you're going to have to find some other ones that are a little lower. Along with a few other goodies, Discovery also includes a scope leveling kit, and that's really awesome as well.
Bang, bang.
All right, so I have a lot to say about this scope, so I'm going to add a few more thoughts. A lot of people are mentioning stuff inside the box. I don't do unboxing reviews, but that said, the box only came with one sunshade, and I think the Gen 1 maybe came with 3 sunshades. So if you buy the Gen 2, you're only going to get 1 sunshade, and to be frank, that's all you need. I think the 3 sunshades was a little redundant, so Discovery opted not to have 3 sunshades. You see the pun there. And I think that the other thing I should mention is the weight and size. So this is kind of borderline criticism. The scope is huge, okay? It's really huge. It weighs more than 2 pounds, so keep that in mind. It's about 2.5 pounds. And so it's a heavy scope. It's definitely a heavy scope. So if you have a smaller platform, a smaller size air gun, that scope is a very large, dominant thing to put on top of a small air gun. So keep that in mind. Personally, the kind of stuff that I would be using it for would be something in line with a BRK Ghost, a RTI Prophet, or a Western Airgun Sidewinder, something that is a little more substantial. So I don't think that the size of the scope is going to matter for those kind of platforms, but if you have a smaller rig, it would definitely be overbearing on not only the size and the physical appeal of the platform, the aesthetics, but it'd also be something that would be kind of monstrous in weight. If you added 2 pounds to something that's small, like a BRK Pathfinder, BRK Pathfinder is a very light, very compact air gun. So if you put a Discovery ED-PRS scope on a Pathfinder, it would be pretty horrific, to say the least. Now, the other thing I should mention is that this scope is in MRAD and not MOA. Our industry tends to focus on MOA. All the scopes are MOA, probably because we shoot 100 yards or under. But if you're in the firearm industry and you're shooting PRS or longer distances, you'll probably have a tendency to gravitate to the MRAD style scopes. Now, practically speaking, what's the difference? What does it matter much? No, it absolutely does not matter. I do believe that the MOA will become somewhat obsolete in 10 years, knowing the trend of how people are going. People are gravitating to the MRAD. Now at 100 yards, your click value is going to be 0.36 inches per click. So that's something to keep in mind. Now the reticle itself, I can say, is the standard Christmas tree reticle, and it has a cruiciform style illumination in the middle. Now there's 6 stops: on, off, 1 through 6. The first 2 I think are compatible with night vision. I saw some people saying that it was too bright, some people saying that it was too dark in daylight to actually be able to do anything in daylight hours. I used it in both daylight and nighttime hours, and I noticed that first off, with the Tactacam, it was way too bright, basically, unless it was maybe setting 1. So with the Tactacam unit, it was just too bright through all 6 settings. There was also some bleed with the color in the Tactacam. What it was actually picking up is a very sensitive lens, I believe. So a little bit of bleed there in the rest of the lens. But with just the human eye, it was perfectly bright both in daylight and at night. Again, maybe on the little over bright, but if you went on a lower setting, there was no problem. So I think sometimes that has to do more with the battery, and maybe it's different models, I don't know, but I can only speak for the one that I reviewed. But the cruiciform illumination in the middle was actually really useful, I think, if I liked using illumination. Now, personally, I don't like using illumination. The other positive thing I should say is for the dollar value, I think that the lens was really clear. It was pretty dang clear. Now, was it the best lens I've ever seen? No. I did see a little distortion around the edges, especially on magnification past, I think, 21. So 21 through 25, I just probably wouldn't use that much if it was outside of a review. And obviously, you always have to make compromises. I think on a lot of the reviews I do, I have to jump up all the way to like 25 magnification, and will get distortion around the edges. But I do that as a sacrifice so the consumer can see what I'm landing on paper. But personally, if I was just using it myself, I'd probably back it down to 21 or 22. I just wouldn't use the last bit of magnification so I could get better clarity, if that makes sense. The other thing I would say positive is that Discovery opted to include a checklist to make sure the scope passed all their tests, and I think that's really cool. And that is beyond the scope rings, the scope leveling, the sunshade, the lens wipe, and the cleaning brush and the throw lever that they included. They included a checklist and obviously a tutorial on how to do things, but that checklist to me shows that the company is being pretty serious on their quality control, and that's something really important, even on a lower budget, more affordable option for consumers. Now, I'm measuring this scope kind of in my mind against an Arkin. An Arkin to me seems about the same quality, and obviously if I compare it to something like a zero compromise scope, which is to me is a very beautiful scope, I don't get the same kind of clarity that I would get at 25 magnification, but that's a $3,000, $4,000 scope. So there's always compromises that consumers have to make, but for what this is at the $400 price mark, I think the ED-PRS scope is a heck of a deal. Last thing is make sure to like, share, and subscribe on this channel, and do go to www.atlasairguns.com. That's me, that's my store. If you buy an airgun there, it supports this channel. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.
Minus
That's a $2,200 gun.
just the gun.
Just the gun.
No scope, no.
No scope, no nothing. You know, this one actually turned out okay.